Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along to our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen. Before the webinar begins, rename your Zoom name to your complete name and department and/or affiliation so that we can easily identify you. Kindly mute your microphone when not in use. Next, switch on your video if your connectivity allows you. If you have questions with regards to the presentation, there will be an open forum right after. Please type it in the chat box or use the raise hand reaction button in Zoom and unmute yourself. The session is video recorded. Recordings will be made available at the Silliman Online University Learning website.
So again, welcome educators. So my topic is about boosting a learner to content engagement through restrict access on activities. So particularly here, this is talking about the completion tracking and restrict access in our MySoul platform, the two features in our MySoul platform. So here, this will be our agenda. So first one, we have to know how to design your course for student retention or student engagement. And then second, why is activity completion important? Third is why is restricted access important? And lastly, why is course completion tracking important? So first is designing your course for student retention. So basically here, it will entails the course structure. So for this case, if we have a scenario, if your course is great, like you have your great content, but it's not easy to navigate with your learners about your learning resources and activities. So in that case, it will reduce student retention or student engagement in that particular course, because if you have a certain scenario, like you post a specific topic, so example, you have topic 1, and all of the resources and activities are posted there, which means you should have, example, if you have lots of resources and it's more on in one column, so basically walang hanggang katapusang scroll down. or let's say it's not the term. So for scroll down siya. So basically, you need to structure your virtual classroom. So in your screen, I am showing you the essential virtual classroom structure based on the recommendation from our office. In this part, we have five essential elements in virtual classroom structure. So first one is you have your introduction. So in that case, you will display a welcome message, a course syllabus, or a curriculum guide. And then you have, second is you have your announcement and attendance. Third is you have the chat and video conference. So that includes making of a dialogue activity as well as other video conferencing tool, just like Zoom, Google Meet, and so on. And then you have your assessment. It could be formative or summative tests. And then you have your lessons, displaying of your lessons. So for example, you have your topic 1, then you can add a forum to it so that it can encourage students to participate or ask questions about the lesson. And in that case, some of our practice from the last semester, they employ a specific topic. So example, topic 1, and then they can also include the learning activities. So that's okay. So again, basically that are the 5 essential elements in designing your virtual classroom structure. As you can see, we have an example for that. You have your upscaling sessions for teachers, student engagement virtual classroom. So again, that is designing your course for student retention is basically revolved around in how easy to access or navigate your learning resources and learning activities. So it's a matter of organizing the learning activities and resources or your IM or instructional materials. Next, we have to know the importance of activity completion and why it's important. So the completion tracking allows students and teachers to see the progress throughout the course or monitor activities and or resources completed. So basically in your own virtual classroom, you can set up the completion tracking or the activity tracking into 3 modes. So the first one is do not indicate the activity completion. So that means that that particular resource or activity uh, is not labeled as completion activity. And then the second is students can manually check or can manually mark the activity as completed. In that case, you can see in your screen here, you have the circle with check mark. So that's basically the student can manually mark the activity as completed. Later on, I will show you a short demonstration on how to do a specific activity completion in a given resource or activity in our MySoul. The third one is activity, or it shows activity as completed when conditions are met. So it revolves around the different resources and activities in our MySoul. So each different activities and resources in MySoul has its own different activity completion setup. So for this case, I show you a specific ebook. So an ebook, so you have your completion tracking, and then now you need to decide what particular completion tracking you will do. You could do not indicate activity completion. Students can manually mark the activity as completed. Third is show activity as complete when conditions are met. So now I will give you a short demonstration on how to do it, the 3 modes of completion tracking. And the purpose of this one, this is to indicate the progress of your learners in that particular topic. So I will just stop the sharing. And then I will just go to my own virtual classroom. So for instance here, so the activity completion will indicate the progress of that particular section. So for instance, in the feedbacking and messaging, I have 2 activities. So if I click this particular topic, so this is the mode of activity completion. If you hover your cursor in this particular activity, so it says that, I will just make it big, okay? So if you hover your cursor in this activity, so it says that the system marks this item complete according to the conditions. So in this case, my conditions is you need to click this particular resource in order to mark this one as completed. So if I click this particular resource, then I can see here that these are the contents. And then if I go back, so if you go back to your homepage of your virtual classroom, just click your virtual classroom name. And in that case, it will mark as green. So meaning that you completed that. In this case, you cannot see because I am the teacher here. So if I will just give you the side of the student, how it looks like. So just give me a minute. So here, this is the student view regarding your virtual classroom. So if I click this particular virtual classroom, so I have a sort of PLD here. So if I click the feedbacking and messaging using the dialogue activity, so I can see we have the activity completion or the progress tracker 0/2. So if I click that particular topic, I can see here that I need to perform this particular resource, or I need to view it, and then I need to watch this particular recording. So in this part, if you hover the first activity completion type, so in this part, this is a type wherein you set a specific condition. So in this case, the system will automatically mark this particular activity completion once the conditions are met. So example, if I click this particular resource and then I view this particular resources. Okay. And then if I go back to the activity, then I can see my progress now to this is now being so in this part, the progress is now 1/2. So if I click this particular topic, then automatically the system will mark this one as completed. And then here, in this type of activity completion, this is the students can manually check this particular resource. If they are done watching this particular video, so all they need to do is just simply click. So my suggestion is that you give a particular instruction that what they are going to do with this particular resource or activity so that they are aware of how they will progress or have their activity completion done in manual or automatic ba siya. So in this case, I have now the progress tracker in my activity as 2/2. So I have done this particular particular topic. So I need to proceed with the next. So that's the importance of having activity completion to track the progress of your learners regarding showing them your IMs or your instructional design or your activities or your learning activities to your students so they can track their progress in how they do in that particular uh, topics. So now let's proceed to so that's the importance of activity completion. So now let's proceed to the restrict access. Okay. So the restrict access and how it works. So the restrict access feature enables teachers to restrict the availability of any activity or even a course section according to a certain conditions, such as the dates, the grade obtained, the group or activity completion. So basically, we are done with the activity completion importance. So now let's proceed with the restrict access. So as shown in your screen, so we have different restrict access for activities and then restrict access for sections. So sections is located uh, in that case, this is short of the topics. Okay, sections or topics or your table of contents in your virtual classroom. So you can restrict that one to your activity completion, the date, the grade, and then the user profile or restriction access. So usually we do here is we just simply restrict it from date. Okay. So basically this particular section, like example, flexibility learning, online learning, blended learning topic is restrict in this specific date. And also, I also restrict it by, I include a particular activity that you should mark it as complete. So in this case, I do the add restriction for sections or topics with two conditions. So first one, it will open the section in that given date and time. And then the second condition is you need to finish this particular activity. And then it will show you the topics or the contents for topic 1. So that is adding restriction to sections or topics. If you want to add restrictions on an activities, So you need to um, you need you need to know the restriction. So first you have the activity completion. So the activity completion should be marked. The student could mark manually or it is automatic. And then you have the date and time, the grade. So for example, in your quiz one, so in that quiz one, you have 100 points, highest possible score. If they get a particular score like 80 below, then that particular topic will be open to them, and that particular uh, topic or resource will be open if they go higher than equal to 80% of the score from the quiz. So later I will give you a short of demonstration on how to do it regarding the restricted access. And then you have the group. So basically these are your the group one, group two, and so on. So this will be the groupings, the group. And then here is the grouping. So this will be the task delivered. Okay. And then you have your user profile. Then you have your release code, restriction access, but mostly in adding a restriction regarding sa activities, we do activity completion, date, grade, and then the group. So now let's have a short of demonstration regarding the restricted access. So I will just go to my own virtual classroom. Okay. So here, for instance, I will open the topic 2. Okay. I will open the topic 2. This is the topic. And then I will add IM or instructional material. This is in the form of a label resource. So I will just click the create learning activity. So in this part, you are adding an activity or resource in that particular topic. So in my case, I will add a resource, or this pertains to the learning materials or instructional materials displayed in your specific topic. So I will click the resources tab, and then I will use the label resource. So in this part, you need to have a sort of instruction on how to do it. And then we will apply the activity completion. For instance, I have here, okay. So I will give a short of instruction on how they will do it to activate their activity completion. So for instance here, or this is my instruction. Again, your instruction could be in plain text or plain image. So this is my instruction for that particular week. So in this part, they need to watch a specific video. So example, I have a video from YouTube. So as one of my online resource. So for example, introduction to social studies. So here, so I will just simply copy the link, the URL link. So right click and then copy video URL, and then I will paste that one to my label resource and then paste. For this case, you implemented the instruction for that particular activity. That's not activity, but instruction for the resource that you need, that they need to watch this particular video coming from the YouTube. And then you will do the activity completion here. So first, click the activity completion. So every activity or resource has its own setting for the activity completion. So from here, completion tracking. So I can see that I have two options. Do not indicate activity completion. So meaning that doesn't show the circle with check or circle with exclamation mark. So meaning useless, okay? So that's basically for viewing purposes only. So that is not marked as completion tracking. So in my case, I will use this second mode, which is the students can manually mark the activities as completed. So meaning the students will just mark, so manually. And then if you have your expected date and time, so you can indicate, but mostly we just only do the completion tracking mode. And once you're done with your label, okay, Doc Lily, you have question? You can,
Yes, sir. Can you hear
yes,
me?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Doc.
Okay, sorry. Sorry to disturb you, but that one I have tried it so many times, and students don't mark it.
Mm-mm.
So it's like that's the thing. Like there are like some options wherein you can put the conditions that you were just
Yes,
discussing, which is
yes.
great. But there are like some activities or resources that are like this. It's either they don't mark it or they mark it manually. And if you set them manually, they never do it, Sir Fred.
Uh,
It's like I mean, no
so,
matter how you tell them,
uh,
it's like I don't know
uh,
why, but
so in this part, you need
is that just my students or you guys experience the same thing?
the same thing, mom, based on experience. But in this case, we need to have a call to action or statement in
Yes,
this.
and
Oh,
so like and then I do what you said, like if you complete this, then you can go ahead do your quiz, no? So but
yes,
then if they don't mark it, I get like hundreds of emails. They're like they
yes.
cannot access the quiz. I'm like, well, did you mark it as
Mm,
complete? And then they're like,
mm,
oh. And then they do the same thing, the same exact same error the next time around. So I don't know how to make them remember. That's why I was
uh,
wondering if you have feedback on that. Like how do you make them remember?
uh, in this part, mom. So first is let give you will, as a teacher, you should give an instruction, not basically in oral, but you can type it in this particular whatever activity or resource you need to properly instruct them. Like example, in this particular day, in this particular week, you need to like click here if you're done watching the video. And then if you see this icon, it means that you are successfully completed in a particular resource or activity. And then I will integrate my video in that case. So I guess this is very effective if you have a clear instruction rather than giving the activity completion and the students will just know what to do regarding that particular activity or resource. Yes, Sir Jade, do you have additional inputs?
Oh, hi, Sir Fedley. Good morning. Hi,
Yes.
Doc. Lily. Good morning, Doc.
Good
Um,
morning.
yes, yes, Doc. For this scenario, just in case that the activity or the resource has only two options, which one is the students can manually track. What I usually do, Doc, is that if, for example, students did not mark the activity as completed on a certain date, then I will set up a PLD so that it will send an email to the students just to remind them that they need to mark this particular activity as completed.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you, Sir Jade.
you can
And
set up a PLD.
in that,
You can Sige, go, Sir Fred.
So in that additional information of Sir Jade, we will do some navigation for that, like reminders or notification using the PLD for another e-training activities.
Oh, I see.
So that will be
Okay.
included also for for the other e-trainings. So we have using of PLD basic. And one of that is, of course, notifying them what particular resource or activity they need to take or miss for that specific duration of time. Okay, so do you have questions or clarifications, Doc Lily? Thank you, Sir Jade, for the information.
Sir,
Yes,
ako,
no, thank you, thank you.
sorry.
Okay.
Sir, ako, sir.
Can you,
I'm Sandra.
ma'am?
How will we be able to input the instruction with symbols?
Okay. So in that case, ma'am, you have basically two options. You can do it in plain text or basically kuan lang siya, text-based lang siya, or you can do it in an image format. So in this case, I use a particular image. So I basically take a screenshot for this particular instructions. Because some of the icons, if you do in your particular resource or activity, it is not recognized by the system, so it will give you an error for doing that. So I suggest that you save that one as an image format, or you can have it plain text, but as long as you have a clear instruction, then they can get it. Ma'am Sandra, do you have follow-up question, or do I answer your question, Ma'am Sandra?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So here we go back to our label resource. So you have your instruction, and then you have the video itself. And then here we apply the activity completion. So again, just to remind you, in every activity or resource has its own different set of regards with the activity completion. So in this case, the label has only two mode for the activity completion. So I just click the students can manually mark the activity as completed. So they need to check it. So the icon, that one is circle with check mark. So if I save and return, okay, so if I save and return, then they can see here, this is your instruction and then the video itself. And then if I go to the student's view, so basically this will be the student's view regarding your topic. So example topic 2, and I can see here that you have your instruction and then you have the video itself. So I just simply mark it. If your student hover the mouse, then they will just indicate not completed. So select to mark as completed if they hover their cursor, so they can also see the instruction. If they click that one, so that is indicated as a circle with check with green color. So that means that you completed that particular activity completion. And you can also see the markings that progress 1 out of 1. Okay. This is
Sir.
yes.
So sorry, another question.
Yes.
So this is me being a student na in my
Yes.
PhD. Like there are instances that you cannot check it. It's just the icon. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that the teacher must have put some sort of something, right?
Yes.
That's why I cannot complete it. So what would the teacher have done wrong that would not allow me to check it? And then on the same note, at the end of the course is still like, let's say it would remain 50%. Like this is just in my PhD course that I've noticed that I cannot check it. And so then, because for me, it's helpful as a student, no? Because it allows me to see, oh, I'm done, no, with my whole course. But sometimes, hindi siya ma-check, sir. Anong ginagawa ng teacher that is not allowing the student to whatever? So, did my question make sense?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
So basically, this is in different types of resource or activities. Usually, Doc, you encounter this particular problem in an activity or resource. So for example, if you encounter this in activity, so example, that is in the form of forum. So in the form of forum, there in that particular activity, the forum activity requires the activity completion, and then you set that particular activity to, let's say, let's have a demo. So for example, I have a forum, okay? And then if I click this particular pencil icon, I can do the activity completion, okay? Then I do some tracking, completion tracking. So example, I will show activity as completed when conditions are met. Okay, so again, as I said earlier, each activities or resources has its own activity completion. So for example, student must view this activity to complete it. So I mark it check. And then here you have example, if your teacher instruct this particular conditions. So example, student must require discussion or replies at least one. Okay. And then student must create discussion one. And then post, a student must reply one. So in that case, you need to perform this particular conditions. If not, then your activity completion is not marked as complete. So it's a matter of giving instruction in the description part, as well as proper orientation regarding this particular activity or resource. What are the conditions? So that's the basic steps in indicating the activity completion of that particular learner. So in that case, the activity in that mode is in automatically. Okay, so in this part, this is automatically, or the circle with exclamation mark, so that pertains that the system will just automatically mark the completed once they met the conditions being indicated in that particular activity or resource.
Okay, so basically, sir, if my students are telling me na hindi siya ma-check, it's my fault, no? So it means I did a setting, I must have checked something.
Yes.
Na dapat
You
hindi
need
ko siya
to
ni-check.
Yes.
Kasi like let's say in some instance they might have, I only wanted them to view a video and then hindi daw nila ma-check. So meaning it's my thing, no? My setting. I have to uncheck something.
Yes.
So that's what you're
Doc.
saying.
Yes.
Sige. Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome, Doc. So in this case, let's go back to our example. We have the label. So I am now in the teacher mode. So this particular, let's say that I have a label resource with an activity completion that is done manually by the student. So they will the one to check it. And if they check it, so basically they completed that particular activity. And then I want this one, if they already done, then it will allow them to take the quiz. So for example, okay, so let's say I have a quiz. Okay. Okay. So for example here, this is our first condition. Okay, once they done marking the activity completion, then they will take the quiz. So for example, I will just move my quiz, move it here. Okay, so this is my quiz. So you will just configure now or edit now the quiz settings, okay, to restrict them, or you will use the restrict access. So you click the pencil icon in the quiz. So it's just like this is the prerequisite thing when they done with the particular label resource. So I will just go to restrict access, and then I will add restriction. So activity completion, I will do the activity completion. So again, in this part, every restrict access, this is particularly restrict access in activities. So every activities or resources has its own different restrict access. So I click the activity completion as one of my restriction. So you will choose what particular resources or activities. So for example, here, you need to know the name. So for example here, this is okay. This is the activity. So this is from the label resource. Then you have here the condition must be marked complete. So if that is the quiz, must be completed with a passing grade or failing grade. So in this case, this is just a simply resource. So it must be marked complete so that they can take the quiz. Okay. And then you click save and return. And then here you can see the icon, a lock icon. So that means that this is restrict access, indicated that restrict access. And then we have a particular instruction not available unless the activity here, if you mark complete, then you can perform the quiz. So in this part, this is not published to student. If you're done regarding your quiz setup, everything is set. So you double check it, triple check it. So you need to show that to your learners. Okay. So, and then we can see here that we have an activity completion that is in the form of circle with exclamatory mark. So that means that the system marks these items completed according to the conditions being indicated. So from here, so in this case, so I will just go to the student view regarding your restriction access, and then the activity completion. So this is the view of the students regarding the integration of the activity completion and restrict access. So once they check it, so this particular the lock icon is not seen, so meaning that you completed this particular resource or resource labels. So you're done watching the video, then you can take the quiz. So if not, so for example here, if it's not checked, so basically there is a lock feature there. Okay, so in that case, this is one way of tracking your learners that they need to first watch that particular video, and then they can take the quiz. So once they take the quiz, so all you need to do is just attempt the quiz now, This is the side of the learners. So for example, I'll take, so example here. So next, okay, example, I will take this particular quiz. Next. Okay. So example, finish attempt, and then so they click the submit all and finish, and submit all and finish. And then I can see here that I have uh, a feedback. Okay. So this is the overall feedback. So this is basically based from your percentage of your score. So I have a specific indicator for the overall feedback. Okay. So if I see here, if I click my topic 2, I can see that I already have my quiz, and then I have already completed that particular activity. And I can see here also the markings. Okay. So that's the importance of having a particular activity. So 1 and 2. So again, the attempt and the due date is October 20. So questions or clarifications regarding okay. Sir Josh, do you have questions?
Good morning, Sir Fred.
Good morning.
Sir Fred, motana ko balik. This is actually very helpful for monitoring sa progress, no? Pero na ba tay feature to make sure that they also watch the video aside
Yes, sir.
from making sure that aside from making it katong sa HTML5 ay tawag ato, or there's another way to make sure nga nilantaw jud sila sa video unsa ba? Thank you, sir.
Okay. So in regards in displaying the video, sir, we cannot see we cannot track the students who are watching. So basically it's how you use a third party apps like YouTube or other uh, 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 other particular online sharing platform. But in this part, you can, as a teacher, you need to employ the activity completion in every resource or activity, and then you can also track. So basically here, this is the importance of having the course course completing tracking. So the course completion shows if a course has been completed. So it can show the progress a student is making towards completing the course based on a specific criteria. So meaning you just simply add completion activity in that particular type of activity or resource. So you can see the course completion tracking in the gear icon. First is you click the gear icon, and then you go to reports, and then you go to activity completion. And in that case, it will show you this particular result as shown in the screen. But as of now, regarding your question, Sir Josh, we cannot see who is viewing or not in that particular video. Do you
Sir
have
Fred, na may follow-up question, Sir Fred.
yes.
Kuan kanang some
Okay.
of the some of the videos I use actually are I made them, no, especially my pre-recorded lectures. Onya, some of them I put them unlisted on a YouTube account, and then I'm trying to monitor the views. I'm not so sure if kung ako siyang i-embed ang link sa, say there is a upper section sa Soul, counted ba siya, sir? Will it be part of the YouTube view count? Kay maglantaw ko, halaga, mayroon lagig view. So, like, times how many sections? So, wala sila ng lantaw. So, morag, my question is, if we embed it in Soul, dili siya ma-appeal sa YouTube
Counted.
count?
Uh,
Dili siya ma-appeal?
so far, Sir Jay, do you have something to add or?
Ay,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Sir Josh, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Sir, I was katong unang question ni Sir Joshua. I think, sir, you are asking if do we have a feature to track if students really are watching the posted videos inside my soul.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for that, sir, straight answer is no. We actually don't have the feature. But what we can do is we can use. I think, sir, familiar mo sa H5P.
Oo.
So what we
Muna
can
na
do
kung
is
ginabuhat, Sir Red.
ana na lang, sir. Oo. Like
Mm.
we use H5P, and then at the end of the video bisag na kay isa ka question ba or unsa nga question kay para ma-complete nila ang video.
Yeah. Akong
Mm-mm.
ginabuhat is kuan, I just make 3 questions, and then ang
Mm-mm.
usa sa beginning, ang usa
Mm-mm.
sa pinakatunga, and katong usa isa ending dapit.
Ana
But
na lang, Sir Josh, murag
ana,
mao ni pinaka-perfect nga way para at least the students will be dili pud force, no, but mumulantaw gid sila sa video.
yeah, right.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Jade, for that information. Okay. So again, I will just give you a short demonstration regarding course completing tracking. So we go back to your, okay, we have one question. Mom Scarlett.
Good morning, Sir Fred. I just have a question regarding the restrictions for the quiz part, sir. I don't know if na-discuss kanina kaya I might have missed it because of my wonky connection.
Okay.
Regarding the restrictions, sir, about the students will be able to complete the quiz despite having a failing mark or a passing grade. How do I sir, halang set the score to know if it is a passing or a failing grade, sir?
So basically here, this is based from the percentage. So example, if you have 20 items, or that is the highest possible score, the system will convert that one into percentage. So basically you will mark that one into percentage. So for example here, the first restriction that we are doing is just basically the first part. So meaning they will just only view that particular label resource. So that means that we'll use only the activity completion. So for example, here. So for example, we have here another, this will be the prerequisite for that exam. So you need to click the pencil icon for another activity, and then you need to restrict access, and then you add restriction based on their grade. You click the grade. This is basically the add restriction on activities on a quiz feature. So you click the grade, and then you will choose what particular quiz or activity. So in sample, I have here sample quiz 1, and then must greater equal to, again, this is in percentage. So example here, must be greater than equal to, let's say, 80. Okay, 80%. Or for example, another condition, if that is only one. So example, another condition is 1 must greater than equal to 1, and then must be 80 if that's the conditions. Or example 100. So example, that's the other condition. But mostly our teacher uses is only one condition, that is in uh 80 part 80%. Again, do not write or do not type percent because this is already in percentage mode. So they will take this particular activity once they get this particular score 80 uh, to up. Okay.
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome, Scarlett.
Sir Fred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
To answer, I think Mom Scarlett is asking if how do we determine if a score is a passing score or not? Oo, for kay like if it, for example, if you have a 50 item quiz, how do you know that this, for example, 30 is a passing score or not? So I think we have to set up dito sa quiz. Sa settings we have the
Okay.
grade. Oo. Yeah. I think man yung pangutana. So there's like for the grade, you have a passing grade there, the grade to pass. So that is your field para mag-input ka ma'am sa imuhang passing score. And then the system will determine if the score is passing or not based on the grade to pass field.
But let's take note that in restriction the grade, so this is in percentage
Yep.
mode. Okay.
So from there, and then you can set the restrictions na
Okay.
ano na siya.
So another questions or clarifications? Sir Josh.
Sir Fred, last question of the day. Kanang nakakita ko sir ba sa inyong kuan katong sa feedback bitaw sir?
Yes.
Naalagi, usahan to siya pagbutag
Okay.
icon sir.
Okay.
Naa-siya ta to
So
for very
that's
ganahan ko ato.
okay. So that's the term is overall feedback. So you can see that one in the quiz settings. In the quiz settings, the overall feedback, you can the grade boundary, again, the highest possible score, example, you have 20 and then that is converted into percentage. So you need to encode, like example, 100, the boundary is 100. So 100 to 91, they will get this particular feedback. This is particularly an image. And then you can,
Image sir.
yes, image. And then you can also add a plain text, okay? If that's the range, like 91 to 100, so they will get this particular feedback message or icon. So basically, you will just input the range or the exam that you will not input, but this is basically the lowest range. So example, if you have 91 to 100, so here 100%, and then here 90%, and then you can see here we have another feedback. So that the term is overall feedback.
Okay, noted sir. Akong
Okay.
i-try dire sir karon.
And then if you have to add another more, so you just click add another more feedback fields. And then here, this is very important. This is additional inputs regarding the review options. Okay. Review options. Okay. In the review options, you have 4 time periods. So during the attempt, immediately after the attempt, and then later while the quiz is still open, after the quiz is closed. So the first one is during the attempt. It is disabled because you have your time, you have time, start the quiz and close the quiz, so disabled. So immediately after the attempt, after your students will take the exam, in this part, what will they see in that particular quiz or resource is being done? So in this part, I click the marks. So marks there represents the score. And then the overall feedback is also the that I am showing you, the overall feedback. So in this case, see to it that your review option should be in line with what type of tests you are conducted. So example, formative ba siya or summative? And then what type of test? Like example, objective and subjective. If you combine that in one particular quiz, then it will not reveal the score. So you need to check manually. Example, if that you include essay, so you need to manually check the essay and give the highest possible score of that item. So if that is objective, then they will automatically see the scores if you click the marks. If you then click the mark, then they will not see their scores. So marks and then overall feedback. And then later, while the quiz is still open, again, this is good only for 2 minutes and beyond. So they can also see the marks and then the overall feedback. But you can also uncheck it the later while the quiz is still open, because usually our mode in our conducting the quiz is we do immediately after the attempt, what will the student will see their scores. If you prepare overall feedback, then they can also see the overall feedback. And then after the quiz is closed, so in that case, it's up to you, because there are many complaints or many excuses that power interruption. So I suggest that you stay marks lang sa ipakita sa estudyante. And then if you have overall feedback, then ipakita lang po siya. So overall feedback is just generic lang siya based on the particular percentage ng ilang nakuha nga score. So generic lang siya based on the percentage ang overall feedback. So kung makabantay mo, if you notice, the specific feedback represents if you have if you are making the question in itself, if you have multiple choice, and then you have a series of options. The specific feedback is in that particular option. So example, this is the correct answer, and then you give your rationale. And then for the general feedback, wrong or check, so you can see this one in the upper portion. So I will just show you so you can picture out what I am talking about. Okay. So here, for example, this one. This is the question in multiple choice question. And then you have your question name, and then you have your question itself. And then here, this is the general feedback. So whether they have mark it check or wrong, then they can see this particular feedback. And then the specific feedback that represents to that particular option. So example, if your choice 1 is this is the correct answer, then you give the feedback, or you can personalize the feedback from that given choices. So that's the specific feedback thing. So questions or clarifications regarding the restrict access and then the restrict access and the activity completion. So again, it's a matter of how you set up your quiz and then how you reveal the scores or some feedbacks. So question regarding this one, the review options, the additional topics. So in this part, again, to see that your students completed this particular course by tracking the activity completion, you can navigate or you can monitor them by clicking in your gear icon in your virtual classroom. And then you go to your reports, you click reports. You click gear icon and then reports. And then you click the activity completion. Activity completion, and then you will see here your student if they check or uncheck this particular resources or activities. You can monitor them. And then you can also download PDF, a PDF or an Excel file for that report. And then you can also also see the course participation, and then you will search that particular activity. So for example, here we have activity 1, and then we click the go. You can see here the activation purposes. But again, nonetheless, the purpose of this one is you can keep the tracking of your course completion by clicking the gear, reports, and then activity completion. Questions or clarifications before I will turn over to Assistant Professor Alfie Arcelo regarding the remaining 2 topics? Questions or clarifications regarding boosting learner to center engagement through restrict access on activities? Questions or clarifications? So I think in this part, it's none. So I will turn over the remaining 2 topics to Ma'am Alfie.